Jamen, goddag. Så tager vi kapitel 2 i Apollo 13. Chapter 2, Thursday, April 2nd, 1970. Jim didn't have to wait for Apollo 14. The plans for the Apollo trips changed. Astronaut Alan Shepard had a problem with one of his ears and he couldn't go on Apollo 13. So Jim Lowell took his place. It's my time now, thought Jim. I'm going to the moon. Jim wasn't the only astronaut on Apollo 13. The other men were Fred Haise and Ken Mattingly. Ken was the command module pilot and Fred was the Luna module pilot. They had important jobs. The command module was the Apollo astronauts' home for the long trip from Earth, and the small Luna module took the astronauts down to the moon. It was now 9 days before the trip. The three astronauts were inside the command module simulator. They watched the controls in front of them. "Okay, Ken," said a controller at Mission Control. "You're the command module pilot. Can you dock Odyssey to Aquarius?" "Yes, sir," answered Ken. On the controls in front of him there was an X and a picture of the Luna module. Ken had to get the X over the picture. That way the Luna module and the command module could dock. This was important. The Luna module was behind the command module when Apollo 13 left Earth. In space, the astronauts had to move it. They could only go from one module to the other module when the two modules were nose to nose. Fred watched the numbers on the controls. "Houston, we're at 30 meters now," he said into his radio. The picture of Aquarius slowly moved close to the X. "You're looking good," Mission Control said. "We're at 20 meters, Houston," said Fred. The mission controllers were in another room. One of them turned away from his radio. "Let's make things difficult for him," he said to the other man. The other man smiled and pushed a control. Suddenly the Luna module on the controls moved quickly to the right. "We have a problem," said Ken. He tried to move the picture of Aquarius back to the X. "I'm losing control." It's going to be right," said Fred Haise. "We're moving away." Ken tried again. "No, now it's okay," he said. "We're okay." Fred watched the numbers. 3 meters, he said. There was a noise. "Houston, we did it," Ken shouted. "Good job," said Mission Control. "You men are quick." But Ken wasn't happy. "I want to do it again," he said. Jim looked at him. "Again?" "It has to be right," Ken answered. "I was slow. I don't want any problems in space." Jim smiled. Ken always worked hard in the simulator. Sometimes Jim and Fred stayed and worked with him, but not tonight. "I'm tired," said Jim, "and I'm a better pilot when I'm not tired. I'm going home to my family." Jim opened the door of his house and saw his wife, Marilyn. "Jeffrey's waiting for you," she said. "He went to bed, but he has a lot of questions. I don't think he's asleep. Please go to him." Jim went into Jeffrey's room. His son was on his bed. He always had a lot of questions. He wanted to know everything about Jim's job. Jim sat on Jeffrey's bed. "Tell me about the trip to the moon, Dad," said Jeffrey. Jim smiled. "Okay," he said. "What do you want to know?" "How long will it take?" "Only 4 days," Jim answered. "First, a rocket will shoot us away from Earth. Then, when we're in space, some of the rocket engines will fall away from Apollo. We'll be close to the moon after 3 days, and the moon's gravity will start to pull on us. We'll go around the moon. Mr. Haise and I will get into the Luna module. We call it Aquarius. Aquarius will leave the command module Odyssey and carry us down to the moon. Do you remember when Neil Armstrong walked on the moon? Mr. Haise and I will walk on a new place, the Frau Mauro. There are some small mountains there, so we'll have to be careful. After we get some rocks, we'll take some photos. Then we'll get back inside the lunar module and leave the moon. Ken Mattingly will wait for us in the command module. We'll dock the two modules, and Mr. Hayes and I will move back into the command module. Then Mr. Hayes, Ken Mattingly, and I will fly back to Earth. Jeffrey looked unhappy. Can any of the machines break, Dad? He asked. Jim looked down at his son and smiled. I don't think that will happen. Everything will be fine, and don't you forget it. Jeffrey laughed. I won't, but don't forget my moon rock.